think a lot of people would have missed this. The fact that Coffee points out that he either lied about when they sold the token or is feigning knowing something that he actually doesn't. I mean, I'll leave it up to you guys, but I think Coffee makes a really good point. So originally, this video was gonna have 3 different subjects in it, but the Coffeezilla video that essentially, you know, counters and debunks a lot of the claims that Jimmy made in regard to those really good crypto questions that Oompa had asked the next day. Keep in mind, those actually came from Coffeezilla. This video has so much good information in it that I just want to cover all of it in this video to keep it shorter for you guys. I will be making a second video in regard to some of the other stuff, including the Reddit thread that MrBreast had called out r/YouTube drama, actually debunking all the claims that they were deleting all of the MrBreast defending posts. So if you want to check that out, just stick around, hit the subscribe button, and it will be out tomorrow. But for this video, Coffeezilla actually ends up laughing at how ridiculous some of the answers that Jimmy gives are. Before we get started, however, I should just let you know that if we reach 50k subs by the end of the year, I will be doing a subathon, and the choice of game and what I do will be at your discretion. So consider that if you like me. We're gonna get started first with a video that Coffeezilla put out in the last 24 hours here. MrBreast responds to crypto allegations. Now, Coffee gets really heated in this video, and I don't blame him because I'm not intelligent when it comes to crypto, but even I was looking at some of the responses that Jimmy had and was like, it ain't adding up. Now, you might not have seen that because it was like in the middle of like a stupid long video that I had going through and analyzing most of the interview. But Coffee has some really good points to make in regard to his responses because they just were not adding up. He just sucked. He just sucked. It didn't make sense. His responses were stupid and poopy. Jimmy Donaldson is allergic to taking accountability for literally anything, most particularly when it comes to crypto.
Yeah, I did say that in the podcast, and I obviously did not press the buttons like I've been saying. I didn't pick what punks to buy or anything. Gary Vee, like I said on that podcast, called me and a bunch of other people, said crypto punks are the next big thing. I thought it was pretty crazy, but you know, Gary Vee seemed very passionate about these punks. You should look into it. If it makes sense, buy it. And so, you know, he did the research, picked what punks to buy, bought them. That's kind of high level how it went.
All right, I cannot tell you how weird this answer is in hindsight, because you basically have to completely disbelieve what Jimmy says in 2021 to believe this story where he got this call from Gary Vee and he calls Jason and he goes, if this fits within our trading strategy in the fund, maybe buy some. But you rewind a little bit, MrBreast is on Twitter saying, I bought this CryptoPunk. He's on the podcast saying, I bought multiple CryptoPunks.
I bought a bunch.
He's on the podcast saying, I sold.
I've already sold quite a few of them.
I rolled the money into VFriends.
So then I rolled the money into VFriends.
And then even more crazy, he says he specifically bought certain CryptoPunks because he liked their attribute, like the cigarette one. He's like, I like the cigarette CryptoPunk.
The cigarettes, because I thought that was an interesting attribute.
But here he's saying, oh, I didn't even know which ones to buy.
I don't know which punks to buy or which ones we should buy if it's a good investment.
Like real special ones.
I had some that like whatever 20-30x.
We
bought a lot with like the cigarettes because I thought that was an interesting attribute.
Well, which is it? I feel like if he's telling the truth now, then he was just blatantly lying then. And if he was telling the truth then, he's blatantly lying now or just trying to distance himself from this.
I am just over the moon that Coffee is jumping in on this and like making really good points. And I want to also make this point too, that yes, like exactly as he described, Jimmy is making these 2 claims. Either like when he was on the podcast that he like clearly had his hands on, you know, not, you know, the buttons, but was like, you know, buy this stuff, controlling the fund, making those decisions with it. And the reason that I feel that it leans more on that side and not like what Coffeezilla is pointing out that he could just be incredibly stupid, although either are true and I'm not making any accusations myself. The way that he talks about it in the interview is that he's so far detached. And if we were to believe that, if we're to believe that every time he brings something up where he's like, yeah, you know, I reached out to them and said, hey, if this is gonna make sense financially, you know, take a look, versus how he was talking about it back then, he's so very clearly much more of a part of, you know, the actual investments than he leads on to in the interview. Because just like in the clips that you just saw, when he's talking about, oh yeah, I chose some of the cigarette ones because I thought that they had a good attribute, some of them 20x, 30x, etc. You know, I had them roll it over into V. This isn't someone who's just hands off. Why would he have the knowledge of a specific CryptoPunk going 20x, 30x, etc. if he wasn't at least somewhat involved with the information going around it? And all of this I stuff is also keeping him in close proximity to the decisions that are being made. And additionally, something that I don't think Coffee brings up in this video, I could be wrong, but like on Reddit, Jimmy's account has been talking about crypto for years. He's even talked about having like an entire warehouse dedicated to rigs. He was perusing all of these different crypto threads on Reddit, all these crypto communities. Did all the knowledge just fucking head out the door? Like, what do you mean that you're suddenly so hands-off and just have no idea what's going on in the investments and whatnot? I think I've made my point. It's just the way that he talks about it and the details that he even just showcases and talks about in his podcast. It just feels like he is more invested in this than just I reached out to them and said, hey, if it makes sense with our financial plan, look into it. Wrapping up on this point in particular, Coffeezilla makes an excellent point that really shows that he has a lot more information and a lot more knowledge in this kind of like crypto area.
But I think it's impossible to get away from the fact that MrBeast in 2021 was clearly in some type of contact with this fund that was not normal. This is not a normal, I'm going to give my money to a financial advisor and I don't make any of the decisions. He clearly was directing some of the strategy to say, hey, go get CryptoPunks, and then to go move your money into VFriends because Gary V says so. For Gary V to then give MrBeast a gift to the fund, like, it's all very strange. And I feel like the frustration here is the fact that anytime there's a problem, it's all the fund. I did nothing. I had nothing to do with it, etc. But when you actually look at these investments were all talking about Jimmy. Like, it wasn't about, oh, there's multiple stakeholders, it's Jason Williams. No. It was all MrBeast. And that's the criticism that I think he's not engaging with here.
The next point that gets brought up by Coffee is the super tweet, where Jimmy responds to this question that was posed on Twitter, being like, you know what, this like crazy crypto, this at mouth-watering prices is like, what is this gem that's gonna blow up over the summer? Jimmy replies to that tweet going, super? A day after his fund bought a shit ton of the crypto.
Tweeted in response to it was an Elio Trades tweet. There's a gem sitting there on the market at an eye-watering price set to explode during DeFi Summer 2.0. And then you responded by saying super ? With a crazy emoji. Why did you not disclose that you had a vested interest in the coin that you were tweeting about? Super ?
Well, I didn't. I replied to a tweet, so I didn't tweet it out. And I think a lot of people.
Wait, you did tweet it out? You reply? This is such a weird distinction. You'll see multiple times he'll engage with something that's not really the criticism. The criticism is, well, why didn't you just disclose you had tons of super? And you'll see he bends over backwards to not answer that question.
You know, the fund did hold some super, and I just saw that was the owner of super, the guy who made the coin, and I just went scrolling through Twitter, just replied super to his tweet. I did not tell people to buy super.
Wait, no, stop. Let's back up. Jimmy set up the super pre-sale thing. That is such a big deal. In his whole thing about like, oh, I barely had anything to do with the fund. The most profitable trading decision this fund ever made was set up explicitly by MrBeast Jimmy Donaldson. Oh, I was just responding to a tweet. Well, what was that tweet that he was responding to? He goes, I didn't tell anyone to buy super. The tweet that he responded to was, there's a gem on the market at eye-watering prices. No coin is mentioned. So they're basically saying, like, there's this incredible play you could make on the market. And Jimmy's response to the guy he got in the pre-sale with is super, and he doesn't disclose, one, that he set up a pre-sale and he's like in before anyone else, right? Millions of dollars, he's in. Two, that his fund had been selling and continued to sell after that tweet. Incredibly irresponsible. And there's no way that a single person did not see that. And multiple people, I'm sure, see the biggest influencer in the world talking about this, some great low cap coin at eye-watering prices. He's responding to this, and they don't see that as a buy signal from MrBeast.
Now, this is a point that I had made when I had first watched the video, as well as my analysis. It's not even like people getting second hands of the story. Oompa describes it exactly how MrBeast tries to clarify it. He goes, you replied to a tweet. Nobody, literally nobody, not even the person asking the question, said anything about him just making his own tweet going to, oh, buy super, please, please. Nobody said that. Oompa asked you the question about your reply to the tweet and read it out loud. Coffee articulates this way better than I ever could have and brings up that this is a dodging of the actual point being made, the actual criticism being made. Just like Coffee said, you have to be stupid charitable to even give him the, this like feigned ignorance thing after we've already established that clearly he has some sort of, connection and some sort of control with the fund itself. Or at the very least, it's a strange relationship that is not common at all, as Coffee pointed out. Keep in mind, Jimmy is a smart guy. He's got a ton of businesses he's running. He's worked with crypto multiple times. He's been on his Reddit. He's done the podcast, etc., etc. And Coffee just points out that he is just acting so oblivious to something he seems to know so well. And he downplays the influence that a tweet from him would have, especially in the context that it was.
I just was scrolling Twitter and I replied super, and like, I highly doubt anyone bought it.
I literally, this drives me crazy, the fact he goes, I just said super, as if it's like without context, as if he doesn't know what he's responding super to. Like, that's so, I don't know, that drives me crazy.
Because they saw me reply super to a tweet. I mean, just to be honest.
To what
so
tweet?
I didn't think too much of it. Obviously, though, in hindsight, I mean, I could see how people might think that is a weird look optically, and so like I wouldn't do it. But
we should give him credit here. He admits that it's bad, but he only admits that it's bad optically. He's like, yeah, it's like if you look at it without context, like yeah, like if it's bad optically, so I guess I wouldn't do it. No, it's just bad. Like you should not be positively talking about coins that you have a financial stake in because you set up that financial stake while your fund is selling without disclosing it. Like it's the most obvious stuff. This is influencer ethics 101. It is not just optically a problem, it is actually a problem.
So I'll leave that up to you guys. Is Jimmy really just this big of a dum-dum? Does he just know absolutely nothing about crypto and his mind got wiped by a Men in Black little pen laser flash thing? I don't know what they're called. Or is there maybe just like a teeny bit more information that he is not leading on to the fact that he knows about? I'll leave that up to you guys. Jimmy will dodge accountability in any way, shape, or form. And we're kind of tying back to that because Coffee points out, Oompaville like soft hands him just like a, hey, we can admit that was a mistake, right? You know, the super tweet, because it was a mistake. Even if it was out of ignorance, it was a mistake. And even then, even with this like, hey though, right? You know, it happens, man. It was a mistake. You can just, you know, admit that. Jimmy smacks that out of Oompa's hand and goes,
I didn't think it was a big deal when I did it.
Yeah, but now, I mean, obviously, with because crypto is changed massively in the last couple of years, so you can consider that a mistake at this point. Like that's definitely
And another thing.
Why the but? Like it's the most layup thing. Hey, Oompa even gives him kind of the out, which is that back in 2021 things were harder. Like all you have to say is yes.
At this point, like that's definitely
yeah. And another little context point I think a lot of people are missing. A lot of people who do this kind of stuff do it on low volume coins that like, you know, sell $100,000 a day. So it actually dramatically pumps it and blah, blah. Super is like the 100th biggest crypto coin out there. Super is like a legit coin. It's a legit project that's massive. Like that tweet didn't move the needle for shit or anything.
All right, so what I hate about this is I'm not the worst person in the world. Like he just keeps comparing himself to other people. And it's like, yeah, we even make that distinction multiple times. I feel like when he compares himself, you know, it's like me getting pulled over for a speeding ticket and going like, yeah, but your officer, like some people go 100 miles an hour in this school zone. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You're still speeding.
Coffee makes a great analogy with the speeding thing, but I'm also thinking like grocery stores. Like it's like you're going to like some Target, you know, and you, I don't know, steal some Pokemon cards. And then you get detained by security and you're talking to them. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, you guys are a really, really, really big grocery line. No, it's not like I went to, you know, Dan and Elliot's grocer and stole one of their 8 packs of Pokemon cards. I mean, it's a much bigger deal for them. So like, why are you arresting me, right? You're still going to jail. It's still a crime. Just because there is more of an impact somewhere else doesn't mean that what you're doing doesn't have an impact, isn't something that you shouldn't be doing. But now let's get on to the auctioning of NFTs, the charity event.
Eternity gave us NFTs to auction off for Team C's. Only one sold after like, whatever, a day, I believe, and that was it. And then, yeah, it looks like the fund sold like 27 days later, a little bit of Eternity.
This was the craziest part of the interview, in my opinion. He says, oh, we sold after the charity. The one NFT sold. Not true. Then he said we only sold a few tokens. Also not true. They sold $2 million. And then on top of that, here's where you can actually see the dates of all this stuff. You can see the offer was made on November 2nd. Is that what he's referring to when he says, you know, oh, we sold it? But because that's not actually true. The sale did not happen until December 23rd, 2021. After the fund sold. So this whole idea he's going to say multiple times where he's going to go, oh, we didn't sell anywhere near the charity time. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, it's just literally false, and NFT sold after the fact. So this whole defense of his is based on misinformation, which is the idea that the offer was made on November 2nd, but the actual transfer and sale date wasn't made until December 23rd, 2021. You can see the date here. It says bid 1 for this charity thing. And this is just such a basic thing that is just, I think, incredibly, it's just misinformation at this point, which is ironic because that's what MrBreast says he's, you know, so against. He downplays this whole thing, and I just feel like there's no need for this. The fact is that the bid actually wasn't won until after the fund did sell. I even said in my video, I don't think this was some premeditated thing. It was a flop of a charity, so it would have been a disaster to do it that way anyways. But the fact you just can't even take that little bit of criticism that you're the charity guy, it looks like you're profiting during a charity, and that's just bad. Like, why do we have to downplay it so much?
Get his ass, Coffee! Now, I didn't right away catch this out, even though I had watched Coffee's video prior to seeing this interview. But again, he either truly lies about it, or is, as Coffee put it, so willfully ignorant that he's just, you know, completely wrong about it and doesn't know. And all of the framing he does whenever he's pushed on this is like, well, it was the fund. It was the fund. Remember, the fund, which is not just me. It is the fund and, you know, blah, 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 blah. But brother, your name was used to represent this. MrBreast, not, as Coffee said, not the Rocket Fund, not the fund that you were a part of. Your company. This man, anaphylactic shock if it came to him actually admitting that he screwed up in some way. Now I want you to watch, as Coffeezilla also points out, that Oompa does so much in an effort to just hand on a silver platter this, hey, you know what? A lot of people made mistakes at this time. This is a valid criticism. Can you accept that? What do you think Jimmy's response is?
I feel like this is one where the criticism is valid. If your fund is privately making like millions of dollars during a charity drop that your name is attached to, like even if
so again, that I would say is not fully correct. So the charity
He can't even take the little bit of criticism. He's like, no, not correct. Let's hear him out.
drop happened. One sold. The other ones weren't selling. No one cared. So there was no selling of NFTs to raise money for charity anywhere near where the fund was selling before or after.
Yes, it was. It was after. It sold at. That's just not correct. That's just not true.
People could technically still have bought those NFTs, but no one did because it just basically no one cared. So I just
Honestly, this is so annoying. The way he does this, he goes like, oh, the charity was a flop, so it doesn't matter. And then you criticize him about Super, which was not a flop. And he goes, well, yeah, it's successful. What's the problem? What's the problem? It's so successful. So isn't that good, actually? If it's a flop, it doesn't matter and it's not bad. If it's good, then actually maybe I was doing the right thing by talking about it.
I don't feel like that's a fair criticism. Like they gave.
I'm sorry, I'm pausing so much. It's like so unhinged to say. After the lightest pushback, hey, maybe this is a bit bad. Not even saying you're a scammer. 2021's a different time. Oh, that's not fair criticism. No, not fair criticism. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sorry to say, yes, it is. It was bad. You should feel bad. You don't feel bad, which is a problem. I think it's actually a huge problem. This is crazy. MrBreast is living in a bubble where he thinks, and I don't know, can you not just take basic accountability here?
They gave Team C some NFTs to raise money. One sold. No one cared. And then it just basically died. And then just under a month later, yeah, it looks like the fund sold some tokens.
My brother in Christ. Nobody cares about the NFTs. Nobody cares about the NFTs. They do care that when people go to this coin, they see your name. Your name. You sold the coins during a charity event. That's it. That's it. Just take it. Just say sorry. And he keeps talking about, yeah, they sold some coins. They sold some. Oh, sorry. 2 million? Right, poor people. Yes, no, that is a large sum of money. You're right. You're absolutely, it's not just some coins, yes. Team, yes, could you prepare the platinum diamond encrusted gold-plated submarine limo jet that I have? Yeah, the interview's wrapping up, thank you. And he finishes this point off in just the best way. It gets Coffee to actually just start laughing.
If anything, it looks like the people in the fund were being cognizant of it and paused selling and waited till long after it ended to do it. You know?
What? What is he talking about? Look, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going insane listening to this. Oh, it looks like my fund was actually responsible and waited till after the charity ended. It hadn't ended. They didn't wait. What are you talking about? And it's not the fund. Your name is on the website. Oh, I gotta calm down. This is actually crazy. Mind-blowing. I mean, it's mind-blowing. And I appreciate Oompa kind of doing these follow-ups to get these answers.
Okay, just to be clear though, you keep saying a couple coins were like you're downplaying it. It's $2 million of earned tokens. That's quite a bit. That's like a lot of money.
Of course. And obviously not all of it is mine. It's the fund.
Of course. It is a great sum of money, but you have to remember, Oompa. Some of my friends, unnamed friends, were on that fund too. So I probably only made like $1 million myself. It's not even that much. That's like half of the amount that you're saying is a lot. So Coffee, just excellent work. Thank you very much. Thank you for being the person that sent in these questions to get Oompa to ask them, even after the interview. It's highly appreciated because we wouldn't have gotten these absolutely horrendous answers that are very good to point out are stupid if he hadn't done that. Overall, this was an absolutely beautiful video, which I think, again, we need more of these videos coming out to point out these like very clear inconsistencies when it comes to what Jimmy has said in this interview. He's not really even addressing the critical stuff. He was not pushed on any of these truly hard-hitting questions. And so I am hoping for my rent and for you guys that he does another one of these interviews, because that one truly, in all honesty, sucked eggs. But that's it for the video. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Adios. See you later. Adios. Bye.